Hello, everybody. Welcome to another roundtable talk where tonight I'll be your host, Sister Tiana, and we have our two lovely ladies, Sister Kamara from last Friday, and Sister Anasia joining us this Friday for our second to last, not our last just yet, of Unlearning Unhealthy Perceptions. Tonight's title is Unlearning Church to Learn Ministry, right? So I thought it would be pretty interesting, because we're like the remnant of Deeper Life of the young people. I'm sorry, we're not young. We're young adults now. We're in that. You got to have that adult attached to us now. So I just was interested and curious to see how, our take on what that is in our personal lives or even just in the life of a young person. And when I was thinking about this topic, I constantly kept thinking about church being like such like a selfish mindset, and ministry more of like that selflessness. And I feel like a lot of times that we misunderstand those two things. Like, it's okay for us to care about ourselves, but what are we gonna do, for us to put ourselves on the line for somebody else? And I really wanted to just kind of dig a little in there, just like, what does everyday ministry look like in our lives? Right. Being as though, we have families and different things that may come up, work, trying to like get some type of career going for yourself or some, like, what does ministry look like in our everyday lives? Yeah. Do any of you want to take a shot at that first?
I guess I would say doing your best to be Christ-like. When you think about Jesus and what he did when he was on this earth, like you said, he was very selfless. He didn't put himself first on the list, but he always made sure he took care of people, even those who didn't even know who he was. He didn't make anybody feel like they couldn't talk to him or couldn't be near him. So it's about being loving towards everybody. Even people we don't like. There's so many people that walk this earth, people who don't know who he is or even understand who he is. So we can't be out here like, like judging people or being mean to people because they aren't living a life that we think they should live, or a Christ-like life, but being loving and kind towards everybody, because that's what Jesus would do. So even if it's giving a homeless person $1 or giving them your sandwich, like, I just bought this from McDonald's, I want this, but they need it, so let me give it to them. Maybe even being kind to your children, because we all know, well, you guys don't have kids, but they work my nerves. So even with your family, sometimes it's just something, be kind today. Be nice today. You have an attitude, that's fine, but just try to be kind today. Yeah. So to me, it's just showing kindness, showing love, because the world needs it. Yeah. And so many people are hurt. They're sad. They're broken. They're bruised, and they don't mean to be mean. But when you're hurt, you hurt people. Yeah. So it's just loving on that person who's just a little bit too mean because they don't know what to do with all of their emotions. So just trying to be as loving and as kind as you can, even when you really don't feel like it. Yeah. Just trying your best to be genuine and loving. And it's hard because, we got attitudes, we got emotions, we got bad days. So we don't always feel like it. But Jesus did it. Yeah. And if we want to be like him, then we have to strive our best to do it even when we don't feel like it. You know what I mean? Just push through even when I don't have it in me today, but you know what? I have to try today to do it. So that's what comes to mind for me. Yeah. Just being kind.
That's awesome. I actually think you make a really good point, because right now, even in social media, it seems like the current perception of most Christians is, you see the person out there on the corner with the picket fence, like anti-abortion, anti-this, anti-gay, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Where in reality, I don't know exactly where the scripture is. Somewhere in the book.
It's in there. It's in that book. Somewhere.
It's not our job to judge the world. Right. You know what I mean? It's our job to, check each other. Yeah. But it's not necessarily our job to check the world. So sometimes, I get a little bit frustrated when, especially people who believe in Christ and believe, to walk as a Christian, get so passionate to the point of anger, spreading anger and hatred toward other people. Yeah. Because that's just not what Jesus did. Right. And Jesus actually fought against, the Pharisees.
Yeah. The Pharisees and the Sadducees.
There you go. Yeah. The word is what he fought against. Just trying to correct their behavior, because what they did was like not right, and it wasn't Christ-like. Right. So I think you make a good point that, you know, I think sometimes as Christians, we become such vigilantes that we forget, you know, that we're supposed to show love to everybody. You know, they'll know us by the love we show. You know what I mean? Not necessarily by the picket sign you hold.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times as Christians, especially young Christians, like young adult Christians, every time you tell somebody you're a Christian, their face just like, are you a prune? Like, you're not a prune. Smile a little bit, because it's like they automatically put that churchness mindset on us, like, oh, they're like every other Christian. When you didn't get to know who I am, to know the kind of love that I have. And I actually had a situation happen to me once. I be trying to, because social, like you said, social media is a dangerous thing, especially for a Christian, because I feel like a lot of times we get attacked. And I'm just so passionate, because I'm like, y'all just don't understand. Like, if y'all see what I see, you will be able to understand. But what I had last time, I had, you know, a run-in with somebody. They had made a post about saying like, oh, you know, all these Bible thumpers need to get off my page because I don't want it. So I felt offended. And I was like, how dare they say that? And I was going on and I had to stop. I was like, wait, maybe she never met a Christian like me. So I went on there and I said, you know, like, I don't appreciate what you said, because, you know, we are people just like you are. But what I said to her first, I said, but I'm going to say this. I apologize for whatever Christian, I did put it in quotes, I don't know if that was petty or not. But I said, I apologize for any Christian that you came across that was not showing love, because that's not a representation of who I serve. I said, and that's a clear distinction between going to church and saying that you love Jesus and really walking this thing out and having a relationship. And I said, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that religiousness mindset. And she was, you know, the person was just like, oh, you know, thank you for saying that to me. I guess they thought I was going to go rah-rah, but that's not who I am, and that's not the God I serve, so why would I misrepresent him? And I feel like a lot of times when people, like you said, hold your picket fence, think about it. Who are you representing? Who? Because I really firmly believe that we are bridges to people for them to get to the other side. And when they get to the other side of the bridge that we're helping them along, they're going to find Jesus. But we can't do that by saying, I hate you, you're sinning. To be honest, we all be sinning every day. And we know we do. Even in our thoughts, like, let's be real. We out here doing some stuff. So
and
you gotta
always this person. We didn't start off here. We started off just like them, wandering the world, doing our, you know, our business stuff we ain't supposed to be doing, hearing the word, but not trying to really hear it because I want to do what I want to do. But somebody cared enough to pray for us. Jesus cared enough to keep being there, like, hey, daughter, hey, son, I know you don't understand right now, but I need you. I want you to come closer. And then we eventually got to a point where we gave it a try, but we didn't start here. So definitely not. We got to be understanding of where they are. Because, I mean, you can knock on that door all day long, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to open it. You can't be angry at them for not opening it. Just pray for them. And eventually, they're going to get to a point where they're going to get tired of hitting that brick wall. And they're like, let me see what this Jesus thing is about. Let me see. But if you keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, they're just going to run away. Like, this is too much because... And I'm always trying to be mindful when I do talk to people, because I don't ever want to make them feel like I'm choking them. Take Jesus and take him now. Take him now. Take him now. You know, because I'm so filled with joy. I want everybody to feel it, but everybody's not ready for it. So if you just keep constantly pounding them with it, it just kind of, it pushes them away. So, you know, you can give them something here and there, something simple, and then just pray for them and leave it there. But too much of it can just be overwhelming for some people. It's just like, I heard what you said. I don't want to hear it anymore. You know, they get frustrated. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. Because listen, when I get on the topic of Jesus, I'm gonna be, listen, we're gonna be talking for hours, friend.
All day long.
We're gonna be talking for hours because I just be so happy. But that annoys people sometimes. So I'm like, my bad, y'all. I wasn't even trying to. I was just trying to help you. But it's fine. We can talk about another day. So just being mindful of where people are at in their life, in their walk, because it can just, you don't want to push them away. Just be simple with whatever it is that you want to share. Even if it's just a testimony, like, I've been where you're at. Because sometimes, you know, people look at us and they assume that your life is perfect because, you know, you're going to church, or maybe you got a good job, or whatever it is that you have. They assume, oh, life is just easy for you. You don't understand what I'm going through, or you don't understand my life. And it's like, sis, if I tell you what I've been through, the struggle for me to get here, like, I've been through it. I understand. I get it. I've lost this and that and this and that. Some days I don't even want to get up and keep going, but I know I don't have a choice at this point. I can't be like, God, not today. After all you done for me, what I look like telling him no, sir, not today. Like, I gotta get up and keep going, and it's worth it because you grow, you get strength, you get stronger in your faith. But not only that, we just never really understand who's watching us.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I never thought I made much of a difference. I'm just doing the best that I can do. So to me, it's like, you encouraged by me? What I did to make you encouraged? Because if you can see me in my house,
right.
I don't want to do it no more. I went. Like, listen, it's a struggle, you know what I mean? So I never look at myself as if I'm encouraging somebody, but you'd be surprised at how many people are encouraged by just seeing you show up on Sunday or seeing your encouraging Christian Facebook post or whatever that thing is that you do. You'll really be surprised at how many people live off of that moment that you're able to give them. So you know, we can't take anything for granted. So
definitely not. And I feel like a lot of times I never had this, you know, I guess you can say revelation of like ministry until I actually started reading. Well, it's a struggle. I'm trying. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I've been reading every day. But it's a struggle. Like, I've been trying to really dig deep into the Gospels. Because that's, like, the epitome of who Jesus is. And the more I feel like we know who we are calling our friend and our Father, the more we know who He is as a person when He was walking this earth, the more I feel like we can connect to who we truly are. So, even with The Chosen, really helped me with a lot. And I just sit there and look, like, a lot of times Jesus met people where they were. He never said, come on my level. He never said, don't talk to me because you're doing X, Y, and Z. He literally met them wherever they were at. Even Peter. Where did he meet them? At the boat. In his trouble of debt. He said, go to the other side. And I know Peter probably, I was telling my mom this the other day. I said, I feel like I could even imagine Peter's like having an attitude like, I've been at this all night. Like, who are you to tell me what to do? But let me just do it to kind of shut you up. And then realize like, oh no, like, this is for real. And even like him, like, you know, falling on his knees, and Jesus was like, what are you doing? Like, just letting him, allow him to feel like we are on the same level. I am with you. I'm like literally walking with you. And I tell people all the time, just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I go through, because listen, I feel like we go through a lot. But I said the only joy that I get is knowing that I have somebody walking with me. Walking by my side, knowing how I feel, knowing what's going on in that exact moment and pushing me to do better. That's the only thing that I have that you don't. But would you like it? Come on, and I'll help you. But I feel like a lot of times, like even you say, like we walk into a room and automatically people get intimidated. And it's like, listen, I like even my siblings. I don't know. I guess everybody think I'm rich, but I'm like, listen, my riches are in heaven. I don't got none on this earth right now. But I tell you, all my riches in heaven. But I'm just walking because it's just knowing, feeling that comfort and wanting other people to share it. Like, you just want to share it with people. And I really feel like that's what ministry is. Ministry is something that's contagious. That you just want to share. It's like, you know how you, as kids you play telephone? Even though we could never get it right. But how you play telephone, you're literally telling people. I feel like that's what the epitome of ministry is. It's just telling your experiences. Telling, you know, come on this side. Like, I know your life is rough, but I know somebody that can make it all better. Now, you're going to get tried, but... And speaking of getting tried, I want to kind of talk about that. Because even, like, you know, I just feel like our generation is that generation that's just, like, it's, like, polar opposites. Either you got one that's just, like, whew, like, I don't know, I don't want to be in this generation. Or it's just, like, the overly ones that's, like, you know, judging the other side. And it's just, like, how can we, as young people, kind of bridge the gap between the two? To let them know, like, hey, there is, you know, the ones that's actually, like, trying to have that relationship with God and not trying to judge and trying to love and just trying to spread that kind of message. Like, where do you have any ideas of where to start even in our crazy generation? I know that's a lot. Because I feel like we're also competing with a lot, like, you know, with like the new age stuff and like different things that people are thinking that are normal and they're not. Like, how do we spread that, like, y'all, what y'all doing is not good, but in a loving and kind way. Like, I feel like that's the thing that I've really been struggling with the most.
I think it's sort of challenging because our generation, we kind of came after the generation who started to really challenge church views.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like our grandparents was real heavy in church,
yeah.
and then like, you know, my parents were in church, but you know, they got history, you know.
As they all do,
yeah. But I think that was still just the generation that really started to kind of call into question a lot that happened in church at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when we came up, it wasn't really a mandate. It wasn't really super heavy on us to be in church.
Yeah.
And it's even more so for, you know, generations that are younger than us. Like some of them, like I remember, you know, my history coming up in church, like I had to wear like the cotton stockings. You know, like there are things that we can identify with, like joint experiences that generations now don't have. Like they don't know nothing about like Easter suits and you know the real shiny shoes. Like they don't know nothing about none of that. You know, so it's kind of challenging because since their birth and even throughout our life's experience, you know, I am very privy to some of the difficulties that my parents have experienced throughout, you know, their salvation, you know, even within the church, you know, so, you know, when I'm coming up and when I start to become more aware of even conflicts within the church, it calls me to question a lot that goes on.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can lead to a very rebellious mindset with you when you're trying to get answers.
Yeah.
You know, like, why do we have to do this?
Yeah.
You know, why do we have to wear white all the time? You know, what's the point of me, you know, wearing a cotton stockings? What's the point of me, you know, like all of the things that were kind of like implemented throughout church history, you know, our generation questions it.
Yeah.
And if it's not a good answer, we find another answer. You know, and unfortunately, sometimes those answers aren't exactly Christ-like, you know?
Yeah.
But they're not basing what they're trying to find off of, you know, their belief in God. They're basing it off of somebody else's trauma and issues. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a challenge to be like, how can we reach them? You know?
Yeah.
So like it kind of goes back to what Anasia was saying, where it's like, you know, God said, "With love and kindness have I drawn you." You know, some of them have they developed such a, I don't want to call it a hatred, but there's such a bitterness, you know, and it doesn't fully belong to them. Some of it belongs to their parents. Some of them watch their grandparents suffer. Some of them watch their friends suffer. You know, the church has, over time, like, covered up so much. You know, you knew that deacon was nasty. You know, you knew, you know. But, and so over time, again, you know, people kind of pass on their bitterness to the next generation, so it becomes very difficult to reach them. So, you know, I don't know the answer to that question. But, you know, the Bible says the Lord will do it.
No,
Some kind of way.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts about it?
Well, for one, that was really good.
No, yeah.
Because
that goes back into just understanding the why. So maybe just understanding the why, because a lot of times I feel like you said, we pass judgment because it's like, oh, you don't want none of my Jesus? Okay, stay over there. But why? I'm intrigued to know why, if you're willing to tell me, because maybe I'm able to pray or intercede for you in that way.
Right.
To be able to break those walls down, because a lot of times they don't know what's been built up from generation to generation. And by the time you get to us, we got that it's not even a brick wall, it's a concrete wall. Now that we gotta try to drill little holes to at least for you to see the light. So it's like maybe starting to that why point. Like, don't pass judgment. That's what we ain't supposed to do that anyway. I mean, unless it's we ain't gonna go there. But unless yes, we're not supposed to pass judgment to the world. We're supposed to be understanding. And a lot of times I feel like, again, going back to ministry. God, how can I intercede for that person? God, what do you want me to pray for that person? Where do you, because really, like, if you think about it, everybody that we come in contact with, I try to have the mindset it's a soul. No matter how much they get on my nerves, no matter how I don't want to answer the phone, I'm like, Lord, I guess it's a soul. Because I always, like, jokingly say, but I'll be serious. I'm like, I'm not trying to die, and God be like, why didn't you go talk to sister? Why did you turn over and didn't answer her phone call at 3 o'clock? I don't want no smoke with that. So I'm just like, you know what? I have to start thinking like everybody's a soul. So we have to treat God's souls in a certain way. But not to cut you off, what were you going to say?
Well, like you said, the first thing I would say is ask God, how can I, you know what I mean? How can I help the world or these people? How do you show them who you are? You know, because I'm not going to say I hate, but I just like that so many people attach such negativity to who God and Jesus are because of people. You know what I mean? Who haven't been Christ-like, or they haven't been good examples of him, and so therefore it makes other people turn their backs on him.
Yeah.
You don't even know him.
Yeah.
You don't even meet him yet.
Yeah.
But because of what they did, you know, and it's like if you go into a fast food restaurant and somebody's mean to you, you ain't gonna stop going to that restaurant. Mm-hmm. You gonna go right back to that restaurant and get what you want.
Might get that review though, but
right. But why does God? Why do you not like him because of what someone else did?
Yeah.
He didn't do it. Yeah. He done it, and now you don't want to give him a chance. So I would say first ask God for instructions. How do I go about doing this? Because I want to help people. And then secondly, I would say maybe try to put yourself in their shoes. Yeah. Because at one point, and I know for me personally, I didn't want to go back to church. I remember when I was younger, I went to my grandparents' church. It was a very judgmental church. You sit, you're on the back seat, can't participate in nothing. That's it. You know, so when I eventually left the church, when I got, you know, grown enough to do what I wanted, I left the church. And when he's my husband now, but we were dating, when they found out we were pregnant, we done got this letter, you know, blah, 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 you done did this and did that. So I'm like, I ain't going back to church. Like, I'm not doing it. You know, it's how I felt. Like, I'm not going back. Yeah. I remember being pregnant, and Sister Kiki kept saying, my apostle, he's telling me if there's people I need to bring to church, and only people that keep coming to mind is you and Chris. Like, come. I'm like, I got my baby, I'm pregnant, like, I ain't going to church, like, I got what I did, I'm not going out. And I remember her constantly asking over and over again, come. And I was like, nah, I'm good, I'll pass. Like, I'm not beat, I'm good. Lost that baby. Ended up right here in this church.
Yeah.
So, and that did change my life forever.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I can completely understand why people don't want to do it. You know, you're so hurt from what's happened to you, like you said, from what's happened to previous people. Like the church did this to, they judged my mom and kicked her out because you know she was divorced, or they. So I get it, people, but it's people. It's people. Not God. Yeah. It's not God. So it's like, how do we expose him? How do we show the world who he is? How do we shine a light on the positivity? Because you know, you hear God, and first thing you hear is, you can't sin. That's
all they
That's all they
give you a long list. They can't.
But it's not that. Okay, he doesn't want us to be sinful. No.
Yeah.
But he doesn't expect us to be perfect either. You're going to fall short. You're going to mess up, and that's fine. But you just get up and try again. Yeah. But he's such a loving and forgiving person. So it's like, how do we show the world this? How do you expose him so that they can see and understand? And I mean, the best way to do it is just by your life. Yeah. Because I know personally, I've touched so many people, and I'll really be shocked because I don't even like people paying no mind. So I'm doing what God has asked, but I don't really think people care about what I'm doing. Yeah. But when I see people respond to like my YouTube videos and they're sharing them on Facebook, like go watch it, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that. But I'm just grateful to God to be used because I just want to bring people in. Yeah. I want them to know and understand and experience it, but I also don't want to choke them out. Like I said, I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. But I just want you guys to see. Like I just want y'all to understand. So I'm always doing my best to be honest in my walk. Yeah. Honest with what I'm going through, what I'm feeling. Because even though I'm on here and I'm talking and it looked good and I look anointed and you got together, sis, I struggled before I got to do this video. Right. Okay, I didn't feel like it today, guys. I'm sharing that with y'all, but I'm here because I know it's what God wants me to do. Yeah. So it's just about being honest because let them know, listen, today I didn't want to, or today I didn't feel like it, or yesterday was a struggle to get up out the bed. Being honest with them so that they don't just look at us and see the outside, but exposing the inside so that they can understand, oh wow, so you have hard days too. Wow, you struggle too. Wow, you go through this too, because from the outside looking in, they can't see that. All they see is everything else. So just being honest about your walk, honest about how you feel. Some days I tell God, I quit. Lord, I quit today. I ain't doing it. You know I'm just talking trash. Literally. I'm like, Lord, I quit. But you know I'm gonna do it. But I quit. Right now I quit. In this moment I quit. But I'll do that. We'll figure it out tomorrow. You want to have those moments. So just being honest about it so that people can understand that we don't always have to show, but God leads us in that place to give us what we need to keep pushing to do his will. So just being understanding, but asking God, like, how do I help them figure this out? You know, and it's not anything that we can do is up to him to do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we can constantly go to him and intercede for people, for the world, like, God, how do we help the world see this? He'll give us an answer.
Yeah.
He'll give us an answer.
He will.
And it may not be like something quick, like, oh, go do this and everybody's going to get saved.
Right.
No, it'll be something very small,
Yeah.
very tiny, but it'll make a big impact if you can be consistent in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be consistent in whatever that is that you're doing, because the consistency is what's going to draw people in.
Yeah.
It can't be something you pick up. This month I love the world and we're going to pick this up and pray for the world, but next month I'm too busy. I got too much going on. I'm not doing it this month.
Yeah.
You can't. You gotta be consistent and, you know, call on somebody. Hey, look, sis, this week I feel like God is asking me to pray for so and so, or they want.
Yeah.
But I'm tired. Can we pray together?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll pray at this time. You pray at this time. But I need your strength. Call somebody. Because listen, I call Tayana real quick. Oh, listen,
we be on the phone crying together.
Literally all the time.
Hugging,
but I
crying.
feel so much better when I get off because I got the encouragement I needed.
Yeah.
So call a person. If you don't
Yeah.
have the strength or the energy to do what God is asking you to do, call somebody.
Right.
I need the help. I need the encouragement. Tell me something. Tell me something good, please. Read the scripture. Tell me real quick. I need something. You can't get through without that.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
But God is definitely the source, so it's always seeking Him first to ask for what is it that you need? How do I do this?
Yeah.
How do we figure this out?
Right.
And then I would just say ask another person to kind of help encourage you through whatever that process is. So you don't feel alone or feel so heavy burdened.
Yeah.
Because that burden
Yeah.
can be,
No.
it can be a
Trust me. And now that you're saying that, like, so I don't like to tell people, but I do write sometimes. And I'm supposed to be doing a lot of stuff with writing. Like, you know, I just. Anyway, so there's like, now that you were talking, you brought back this moment that I was supposed to write a poem about. And it was kind of called like power surges. And how, I don't know, I think I was randomly driving when it came to me. And I was just thinking, I'm like, wow, if you really think about it, like each of us is a power source. We're plugged into God, which is our main power source.
Yeah.
But we're like those little lines that send little electric to people who need it. And once they get what they need from us, they go to the main power source. Now we can help others. And I was just thinking, it's like electricity, like power lines. That's what we are. We are the power surges and power lines to God.
Yeah.
We are the ones that's supposed to reach in and draw. We're not supposed to shock nobody now. But we're supposed to give them what they need. The lights on, to cook their meals, to make them feel all warm and fuzzy. But like now and then we put them back to God's power source. So I just feel like that I was just talking, I was just imagine like different power surges just going on. And even at this table, we're all power surges. So He gave us the power. He gave us the love, the wisdom to push through boundaries. And I feel like this is the young people, the young adults are the ones that have to go forth, because I always think about it like, you know, God forbid, but what if everybody older in the church is gone? What we gonna do? It's up to us to pick up and to push forward God's. I don't like thinking like, but I'm just like, well, dang God, if everybody just say I'm going on vacation, what we gonna do? Because we gonna be lost. So I'm just like I'm trying to have my mind in that mindset, like, oh, okay, even though it's kind of scary, I guess you can flush me out there, but I'm just thinking we gotta think about these things, because the way everything is going, and who are to be the light, we can't. I feel like our generation, I know. I think I'm just putting ourselves out there. We gotta stop depending on the older generation to encourage us. We just gotta go. I think truly in my heart of hearts, I really think we gotta start like just going forward. Cause I feel like a lot of times like we don't trust ourselves because we feel like we're young. Okay. But I mean the Bible says God calls us because we're young.
Experienced, or
I
can't see myself doing that, because that's how I be feeling. I'm like, God, what are you doing? Like, what is this?
At least you talk about it. Sometimes I be like, I don't hear that, do I?
I be like, sir, what is this?
Literally.
What are you doing? But I always know that if it's there, then He's equipped me already to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still scared. I'm terrified to be exact. Extremely terrified. But I'm like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. You sure?
Yeah.
Like, you positive? All right. Okay. All right. As long as you're with me, we're going to be okay. Yeah. Is what I tell myself. But like you said, we all have gifts and talents in different ways that we can be used to draw people in. Yeah. And we have to be willing to shine our light and not dim it down because people are uncomfortable. Yeah. Or because we're afraid of what they're going to say or how. Because I'm not going to lie, I have a lot of moments where God will be like, say that. And I'm like, oh, no. Didn't I? What you mean, say that? Didn't I? They're not gonna receive that from me. I can't. I've had a lot of those moments where I'm uncomfortable with saying something or doing something, and then I'll be upset myself like, dang, I missed a moment to help somebody, all because you were scared. You don't know what that person was feeling. Right. They might have needed that hug or that hello or whatever that was, and all because you were scared you didn't do it, and now that person you don't know what they're going to do when they go home or what they're dealing with. So we can't let fear hold us back from doing what God needs us to do, because we just never know how it could affect somebody's life and what that could do for them. Like how big of a change. Maybe they they could be really going through something and be like, God, I need you today. And you saying hello or giving that person a hug could have been.
I think about that all the time. That's stressful. What if you were, somebody said that, I don't know if I was into a podcast or a message or something, but he was like, what if you're the answer to somebody's prayer? What if somebody's really praying like, God, I need encouragement, and he sent you and you ignored them? Like, have you ever thought about that, being in that, like, what if you was the one that was supposed to encourage that person, but because of fear, because of our own thinking getting in the way, we're just like, well, we missed that.
Right.
That's a scary thought.
I know.
I guess I gotta start doing stuff. I'm gonna be shaking like, got to do this. But that's the thing of ministry. Ministry, there is no fear. Right. It's you gotta move, no matter if you're scared or not. Like, it's just, if he telling you to go left, you gotta go left real quick. That's ministry. Yeah. Being connected in that way to just, because you gotta think it's not about you. So even if you're scared in that moment, that person's probably not looking at you as if you're scared. Yeah. They're probably looking at you like, wow, this is really what I need. Yeah. Or wow, I want to know what her story is, because she's something powerful. Like, wow, like I want to be connected. Wow, who are you serving that you're just stepping out on here on these little pebbles, not the rocks, the little pebbles. The pinky on the pebble is what it is. The pinky on the pebble, like, who is that? Because I want some of that. You just never know. Yeah. That person is not looking at you as if it's like, oh, I know she's scared. Look at her sweating. Yeah. It's not even about that. It's just about helping that life that's in need, helping that soul to be reached. Yeah. Because I hate when they say it. But they're always like, you got souls attached to you. That kind of scares me. But I'm like, okay, God, just give me, because I started praying, like, even if I don't say nothing at all, God, allow them to see my light. Allow them to see who you are through me, just by me walking past them, without me even uttering a word. Because I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to get to that point where it's just like, all right, God, all or nothing. Like, what you want me to do? I'll just go do it. Whatever. Yeah. But I mean, it's scary. I'm not going to sit here and say ministry is just, it's some walking apart. It ain't. It questions everything about you.
Yeah, it does. But you know what, though? What I love is that it just really helps you learn God on a whole other level. Mm-hmm. Like, in this walk, you're like, you want me to do what? Or how am I supposed to do this? And God will be like, boom. And you be like, wow, okay. Yeah. Wow, okay. Yeah. Like, he be really blowing my mind out here. I'm like, God, you already showing out. What is this? So it's just amazing watching him literally continuously teach you. You can trust me with this. Yeah. And you can trust me with that. Right. And with that. Girl, give it. I got it. Just give it to me. You can trust me with all of it. Yeah. So learning that and it's still scary, because I'll be like, God, listen, sir, hold on, wait a minute. Like, it's scary when you hear, like, dude, what? It's like, I can't do that. I can't. And it's like, no, you can't. Right. But because you got me, you can. You can. Like, you got me, so you don't got to worry about that. Like, I got it. So some days I worry, and some days I'm like, I ain't going right now, God. I forgot. You got it. You got it. Yeah. He has to have it, right? That's his job. You got to do it. You promised that you said it. You have to do it. Yeah. So I have to trust in that. If I'm saying I love you and I trust you and I'm going to obey you, I have to, because we have to give him a chance to be. We got to let him be God. Yeah. We can't be God if we keep trying to fix. It ain't our job to fix it. It ain't our job to figure it out.
Putting them in a box.
It's not. Yeah.
Why do we put God in a box? I thought about this the other day. I'm just like, bro, God created everything and everyone in this. He created everything. Why am I putting him in a little box, a little tiny box? Why am I doing that to the one that I serve, that I know is greater of everything in this world? Yeah. Like, he could take you out just like that, but I put you in a box. Like, I just never understood that. And it's just like, now, like we said, like I was telling you earlier, like, church is in the four corners. It's in the four corners of a wall. Yeah. Because you just go in and come out. But now I feel like ministry, it takes God outside that box. It takes him outside that church mind. Yeah. To do, okay, God, now I'm trusting you to do whatever you need in my life. Mm-hmm. Because he knows the plan. We already have an expected end. Right. Why we ain't trusting in it? Right. So, like, we're on the winning side. Like, we cannot lose here. We need to just get it. We need to just go ahead. Just let God do what he got to do. And that's the beauty of ministry. Like she said, it's like you're learning so much, and you're, like, peeling the layers back of who God is. And each time he's going to show you something different.
Yeah.
It's never the same. He's always going to come differently.
Yeah.
And we have to be ready and prepared for that. And I feel like ministry is that being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because I always say, don't get comfortable. If you want to have a true relationship with God, don't get comfortable. Don't unpack your bag. Keep the bag packed, because as soon as you unpack, you're going to be like, nah, I sit over here. So it's just like, you can never get comfortable. Just be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Yeah, and that's just, it's scary, but it's beautiful at the same time.
Yeah. So. I mean, I definitely can understand, right? Even the phrase being comfortable with the uncomfortable is challenging.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because...
Oh, yes. You're talking to a person that don't like change, so I get what you're saying.
Because, like, even when, like, you kind of thinking of, all right, so, like, in my mind, I'm kind of thinking, you got to be ready at any moment to, like, move. You got to be ready. You got to be alert all the time. And I think that's kind of where I sort of struggle with the whole thing, in terms of, let me be close enough to God that if he tells me something, I can actually hear him. Because if he sent somebody my way, you know, you know, I have to have like a extra special connection that day. You know, like you really,
no, but
you know,
like you like, God, you talking to me today? Okay,
right?
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly, because So, but yeah, no, I think that's very interesting, like a good way to put it, being comfortable with the uncomfortable, because it is. It's not like you're, mind you, you know, I'm nowhere in a position where, you know, I have totally submitted myself into ministry, right? Because I do think it takes a certain amount of sacrifice from the individual, and I struggle to give up parts of myself. You know, I have a little bit of a control issue.
I think
you know, and God's a gentleman. He's not gonna
press upon.
Right.
He's gonna tell you.
He gonna make you do right.
He's gonna.
I mean, he might like usher you in the direction. Might get you sick a couple times, but like he ain't gonna make you do it. You still got a choice. Like, you can either, you know, deathbed or, you know. But that's a very interesting way to put it. I
think. Because, like I said, I'm not the one for change. I had A, B, C, and D. I tell my friends all the time, I'm the person, I can eat the same meal for probably like 2 or 3 weeks straight. Because that's just who I am. Well, I ain't going to say that's who I am, but that's what I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
But, say thank you, God, for correcting me. Because that's even something in ministry, too, that I'm learning. Because it's like, you can't just sit here and say, well, I'm this way, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's not what ministry is. Like now I'm hearing myself and I correct myself a lot. Even like, okay, I may think that's who I am, but that's because it makes me comfortable. So that's why I always have to remind myself, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. At any given moment, things could change. Given to the fact what God needs you to do in that moment. So I feel like that's a good way to kind of remind yourself that's the epitome of ministry. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because he's gonna shake that box up and he's gonna take it right out of it.
I'm like, God, what are you doing? I'm telling you, I swear I tell him that all the time. What do you got me out here doing? It's literally what I say to him, but at the same time I love it because to see the growth in me and the change in me, I be like, I cannot believe I just did that. I cannot believe I am doing this. Like, what is happening? Or things that I literally never thought that I could see myself do. And to be able to do it and not be as terrified as I used to be, I'm like, oh my goodness, God is really out here doing something. This is crazy. And it feels amazing. It's still terrifying.
It is.
But it feels amazing at the same time to just be able to look at yourself and see a different person or to see so much change in an area that you literally, I could never see this happening. I never saw this. So just knowing that God is so capable of doing such a great thing in you, to grow you, to mature you, you know, to increase your bonus. Because I'm always asking for that. I'm like, God, you're gonna have to give me the bonus to do this. I need the courage to do this. Like, sir, I need it. And I'm always asking him for that because the things he asks me to do, they scare me. I don't like being seen. I don't like being in front of people. I don't like doing certain things. You know, dancing, I ain't gotta talk. It's still scary. But I ain't gotta say nothing.
You gotta talk, you don't don't have to look at people.
But see, to get in front of people and open my mouth, that's different for me. But that comes from being insecure. What you think about while you're looking at me?
Yeah.
I see them up here. I look crazy up here, don't I? It's all these thoughts going through my mind. And I can't do what God needs me to do because but why are you thinking about that?
Yeah.
Because when you see somebody doing something, you're never, the thoughts that we think people are thinking, they're never thinking that. Like, where's that coming from?
They in Disney World somewhere.
Right, thinking about tomorrow.
They're not thinking that. Because when we watch people pray or do what they're doing, we're not thinking, they look funny up there. Why they sound like we're not thinking that. We're just listening to it.
I'm trying to tap in like you, because you on fire. Let me get some. That's all I'm thinking.
Or we just like, glad it ain't me.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's how it goes. Right. Let them use you. Go ahead now. Trying to tap in just like you. No, and a lot of times that's how I feel too, because listen, I always tell people, if I could literally record how I used to be compared to now, there's no comparison. Like, a lot of people think I like to talk. A lot of people think, I like to just, hey, I'm here. How are you? Let me tell you, I'm not that. Like, I was never this person. But like you said, when you allow God in, yes, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of submission. Because I'm not fully, I could do better. But when you let him in, you see gradual little things that starts to change. And now it's like you said, you get so wrapped up in who Jesus is, you just want to, you're like a big ball of sunshine. Like, every day's amazing, and everybody's like, why are you so happy? Because I have to enjoy the Lord, that's why. So it's like, you'll just see yourself blossom. And when you sit yourself down and like, wow, I really progressed, I really grew, then you're like, okay, I can do this. It kind of gives you a little bit of courage. And going back to what you were saying, when you were saying, like, even you may be that life that person may see. There's a scripture that I love, and I always quote it. This is the only one I probably know where it's at. It's 2 Corinthians 3:3, right? And it basically talks about how your life is what's going to be written on human hearts. So what are you writing on people's hearts when they see you? Is it ministry? Is it church? Like, what is your lasting impression on that soul? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. They are souls. What is that lasting impression of you? And I feel like that's a good chin checker right there. Like, what am I giving them the best parts? Am I giving them the godly image of who I am? Am I giving those things out to be? Because everything that we give out is seeds. Just like how the Bible in the story was talking about, seed falling on good ground, rocky ground. Well, what kind of seed are we planting in that person? We have to decide whether we're going to be watering the good seed or be part of the problem. Like you said, Kamara. So are we watering that good seed that God already probably implanting in that person, or maybe he's entrusting us to implant the first good seed? Or are we adding to the problem? Are we adding those weeds? Are we miskeeping that garden? Like, what are we doing in that moment? And I feel like that's a good place to start. Even if you don't know where to start in ministry, what seed are you leaving in people's hearts? What seed are you leaving in that soul's mind? What is that lasting impression? This was good though. This was a really good one. I enjoyed talking to y'all today. This is like a little hee ha girls night game. But I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in today. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments. Email them to us at dldsoundteam@gmail.com. Even any of our inboxes on social media, you're more than welcome to do so. If you have any prayer requests, you can do that at, what is it? deeperlife3@verizon.net. I'm trying to see what else is going on because we got some good stuff going on. Our 17th pastoral church and anniversary is coming up on October 1st. So if you're looking for a church home to come to, you can come on, stop by. After service, we're eating, so we're going to have some good food. So if that's a good excuse, come on down. We're going to have that on the 1st. This Sunday at 11 a.m., we're going to have our Sunday morning service. So you can always just come in just to see what we're about. Trust me, the Lord is here always, because we're always at that altar every Sunday. So come on. You're more than welcome to come. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in today. See you guys.